It is time for some COVID-19 survival. This guy right here is a Eastern Fox Squirrel. You can tell by his tail and the kind of orange and white underbelly. And I'm gonna step through a little walkthrough on how to skin and clean this guy if I can get the camera set up. Okay, so roll him over as such, and then we're going to start with a little cut right here. The legs have most of the meat, so it'll be a careful cut. If I can get it started in his leg here. And we will move on up from there. There we go. That's what we wanted. Should act more like a zipper once you get in underneath that thick skin layer. We'll do the same thing with this leg. Again, it's just it's difficult to get in that initial cut. I don't know if you can see my dog in this, but he's very interested in what's going on. Yeah, we'll go right up through there. And we're just going to kind of peel I don't know if you can see that, but you just got to peel the skin back off of this muscle here. And a lot of that can be done with just your hands. You don't really need a knife. If you're going to use a knife, you would cut like here and some of that connective tissue. And just roll that skin on around. Do the same thing on this side, just kind of roll the skin back. And you end up being able to get your finger through there, and once you can do that, then you're in the clear. Just pop his foot up the rest of the way through, and now you got that leg clear. Again, a lot of this is just done with your fingers and pushing away the skin and hide from the meat. And we'll work on this other side. And we'll kind of use our knife to get it started here. But it's not a ton of knife work. A lot of it is right here. I'm going to use the knife again to kind of get some separation. Dexter, get back. This is Dexter's squirrel. That's why he's here. Okay. Good. Just wanted to get away from that meat that wasn't covered by the connective tissue. Harder to deal with, and this will we'll get all this meat washed and cleaned up after we get done getting it all off the squirrel. Okay. So it's just rolling that hide back, rolling it back. You can see the finger pop through. This is what you want. And I don't want to deal with his tail anymore, so I'm going to find a joint back here on his tail where I can just cut through it. pull some more of this down. And there's the other side of that tail joint I was working on. Okay, see that? It's just popping off. I'm going to cut right here. Now we've got the back end of the squirrel freed. And the rest of it's just kind of pulling. Pulling that hide away from the meat. And as you can tell, Dexter's real interested and a little bit worried that he's not going to get any of this squirrel after he put so much work into it. Like I said, a lot of this isn't knife work. And I'm up to this leg up here, pop it through, kind of work on finding the other one. There it is. We'll work on popping it through. Go just like that. You pull, and that is pretty much it for meat on a squirrel. So I'm going to cut right here and just separate the rest of him, because we're not going to need that. And then push it back out the other way. That'll keep the dog distracted while we go through the rest of what we got here. So what I like to do on a squirrel is come up and you don't want to take all of the meat you can off of it. So I like to come up like this and then come down and basically cut around that pelvis. And you find that little ball and socket joint right there, and finish cutting through that, and you have a squirrel leg. Do the same thing over here. And start up here and cut down, cut around, and again we just got to find that little ball and socket joint. It's there, and that's going to help us get that leg. Here it is, right here. See it? I don't know if you can see that time in the video. Then you got this, well, really hair-covered leg. And his front half we are going to do a little bit differently. It's all pretty similar. So I try to get as much of that rib meat as I can get without getting into his actual rib. We want this breast meat too. So I cut right here, and that allows me to get some of that breast meat out with the leg. Go back here. Again, it's just becomes finding that joint, and it just pops off. So now we've got a front quarter, a back quarter. We're going to take as much of this meat off of this guy as we can. It is COVID-19 after all, and Sometimes you gotta just learn how to survive. Little collarbone. It's actually the collarbone that I'm hung up on right here. And for that guy, we're gonna follow it up and pop it off. There's another nice little chunk of meat, and the rest of this really doesn't have meat on it. There's a very, very limited amount of meat left. So this will all go in the trash. Again, that is cleaning a squirrel, COVID-19.